The middle of the afternoon on a very hot and humid Saturday in Apia, Samoa. Thousands of people lining the streets for 17 miles. Many dressed in their Sunday best, waiting, anticipating the arrival of a very special visitor.
It's such a blessing for Samoa.
Today, their prophet, President Russell M. Nelson, is coming. It's been 14 years since a president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has come to their country. But it's not just the people of Samoa. In Tonga,
we're here waiting for the prophet, and we love him.
Many waited on a cold and rainy night for just a quick 5-second wave. It's been 20 years since a president of the church has come to their country.
We're just excited, and we're just overwhelmed that the prophet is visiting our island.
Such was the scene across the Isles of the Sea in the South Pacific. As President Nelson traveled to 7 countries
I feel impressed to leave a blessing with you, my
in just 9 days. Places of rich beauty, culture, and history. A happy people, full of optimism, courage, and humility. We take you along the streets.
We love President and Sister Nelson.
And we take you into the homes of people with incredible stories from Samoa, Tonga, and New Zealand.
He knows me, Vuiswa, not just all other members of the church. He feels my burdens, he feels my pain.
We'll show you why they are truly a people anchored in faith. We started our flight to the South Pacific Islands by first going to the capital city of Samoa. Where we heard an angelic sound ringing through the night air at our first stop. It was coming from inside a school gym, a 250-voice choir made up of everyday, hardworking men and women who truly sang with their heart and soul. These are members of the Apia Central Stake who are getting ready to perform for President Nelson's devotional.
What a blessing for us, to be trusted by our leaders to sing in this special, unique gathering.
Singing for special occasions is what this choir does. For the last 3 years, it's represented the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Samoa in a variety of government functions, festivals, and interfaith events.
When we gather, it's not about each denomination's doctrines and principles. It's about worshiping one God and Jesus Christ.
Every member here sacrifices much to share their talent. But there is one member who has taken on an incredible task. He's 55-year-old Opera Ta'avao, a humble man who lives not far from where they were practicing. Opera has little time to waste. He's just 1 day away from President Nelson's arrival. Opera has agreed to sew 90 ties from scratch for the choir, one for every man. Here's the catch. He's never sewn a tie in his life.
So you had no idea how to make a tie before this project?
I did not. I just don't know how to make a tie. I just look at the tie and then I tried my best to cut it and sew it.
Opera does have some sewing experience. He taught himself how to sew to help him earn money for his family. That's all the choir needed to give him the assignment.
If it was from the Lord that I have to make the ties, then I can do it as a project or as a service or what. It's good. I can do it.
But deep inside, Opeta knew it wasn't going to be easy.
When I started making this job, I was praying and just praying and praying, please, Lord. It's not an easy task. It's very hard. Please give me the strength, the courage, so that I can do it and make it easy for me.
With that faith, Opeta moved forward. Days and days and hours of work.
And it's good, but it's a wrong ankle.
For him, this is no ordinary assignment, but one for the prophet of the Lord.
I'm praying that the Lord will help me doing this.
The next day, an incredible sight and sound as a choir performed for President Nelson. The women all beautifully dressed, and all 90 men wearing the same tie. Each handcrafted and sewn by a simple and humble man who took on the task with incredible faith.
I based all my jobs and works on the Lord's will.
Across town, in a home surrounded by thick vegetation, another family who found themselves relying completely on the Lord for deliverance.
You tell him your age, Dad.
I don't know.
He's 79.
Meet Evelyn and Kovana Pauka, both people of great faith who had an experience.
What attacked him?
A pig with his canine teeth out of his mouth.
That brought terrifying fear to their family and involved an animal with massive teeth.
Just behind there.
It was a Thursday morning when they suddenly heard screams of help coming from outside their home.
And they call her, help, help, help.
I said, what? She's going to die. And I ran. And just when I got here, she was here with the boys on both sides, and the blood was oozing from her.
Kovana then grabbed this crowbar, and that's when he saw a big boar that had just attacked a young woman. He hit the pig over and over, but Kovana says it did nothing. That's when the boar came at him and ripped open his leg with one of his tusks. Blood was everywhere. Evelyn thought her husband was going to die.
I said to the Lord, how come you're letting me suffer all alone? How come you're letting my husband go through this terrible, horrible thing? I was talking to him as I was talking to him. Nobody answered, but deep down me, I feel he's there. He answered my prayers.
The family's prayers were answered. Amazingly, Kovana made it to the hospital in time to get the medical help he needed. His leg was mangled, but he survived without any serious health issues. This tooth was left in the young woman's leg. She too, fortunately, is going to be okay.
Is that a miracle?
Yes, it is. I know the Lord heard the prayers of my kids.
Struggling to make ends meet is a way of life for 63-year-old Aho Longi, who spends his afternoons working in his small orchard. Located just next to his humble home on the largest island of Tonga. His main source of food, a potato-like plant, chicken, and a large variety of seafood. Ahu is a single father of 4 kids who all deal with some sort of special needs. That's why for him, prayer has become a critical part of life.
I prayed to God to help me.
Aho lost his wife 2 years ago, a woman who helped him put aside his worldly ways and become a believer in Christ.
When I married my wife,
That's when my life changed.
I
married a return missionary in 1989. And I left my old ways of life behind.
But despite his meager circumstances and life challenges, Aho is not one to suffer with self-pity. Just about every morning at the crack of dawn, he grabs his diving gear and heads out on his bike to the beach. Aho is not just heading out to catch fish for his family. No, he's out to catch fish for the needy, those who he says need it more than he does. He tells me it's just a feeling he has. He's moved to do it. On this morning, there's wind and some rain. The waves are a little rough, but that doesn't stop Aho from moving forward. Spearfishing is second nature to him. He's been doing it all his life. That's why trying to keep up with him is no easy task. He knows exactly where and what to look for. Inside the crevices of the coral, an octopus. Before long, Aho is catching a variety of fish. Aho says when you put others first, his family in turn is taken care of with food and other needs.
I always get a lot in return, so I feel blessed.
Despite his trials, Aho feels rich in the love of God and how he is watching over his family. And as we are interviewing him, a visitor, a man hoping to get some fish for his family.
It's a wonderful thing because he helps us a lot. It helps feed our families. It helps give food for us.
And that's why Aho does what he does.
I always ponder and think about the last part of the 13th article, and do good to all men, and I want to do that all the time.
Testimonies of great faith are everywhere in the South Pacific. We saw it time and time again. As we traveled with President Russell M. Nelson,
We are truly grateful for your wonderful and warm welcome.
who ministered to the people during his 9-day, 7-country tour, sharing his love and inspiring hope.
Thank you for my decoration. I feel like I've been wrapped in love.
To members like
Can't get the big one.
Aho,
The prophet's coming.
Opera, and the Baugas.
I know the hands of the Lord was with us because everything went okay.
Along a dimly lit street in Tonga, a single light can be seen coming from a one-room home. But it's not a light bulb. It's a small flashlight. The only source of light for the Fatai family. That is until we turn on our camera lights. A husband and wife of 5 kids, ranging in age from 2 to 16 years old. They have no power and no running water, just 2 beds.
How do you manage?
What we do, we're trying to do everything before the lights came down.
The dad, a bishop in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who oversees a congregation of 265 members.
I kneel down and pray, ask the Lord to help me.
How does he help you?
Give me the strength to move on.
There is a reason the Fatai family has so little. It all has to do with the most destructive tropical storm to ever hit the islands of Tonga, according to records. They call it Cyclone Gita, a Category 5 storm with winds up to 140 miles per hour, leaving a path of destruction and devastation. The Fatais remember that day very well, Monday, February 12th of last year.
I came and see my house, it's all gone.
Here you are, a bishop, here you are sacrificing your time and everything, and then he leaves you with nothing.
I know. Sometimes I was thinking of that, but it doesn't take my faith. I know that everything in this earth is belong to our Heavenly Father. He knows everything. He knows that we hurt. He knows that we went through this hardship.
The Fatai say most importantly, they still have each other. But instead of worrying about rebuilding his own home, Bishop Fatai has spent his time helping others to rebuild theirs.
My neighbor is a widow. I'm not gonna walk before her.
In return, the Fatais say the Lord has blessed them. It started with one of their children's tender prayers for help.
Right after the prayer, about 3 hours after that, a vehicle stopped by and provided blankets and food and clothes. About 2 hours after that, another vehicle stopped by with a bit of cash and with diapers to help.
Answering the call to help those devastated by the storm is what members of this Thonga stake are doing right now. As part of the self-reliance program, members got a hold of a large saw and are using that to cut down coconut trees into 2x4s. Dozens of families lost their homes in this stake.
We come up with the idea, how can we help them? Because some of them, they are no house, all the house was damaged and they have no place to stay.
Once the boards are cut, another crew begins building the homes. This home will soon belong to
I feel very happy.
31-year-old Sataira Fafita, a single mother of 2 kids whose home was completely destroyed by Gita. She's overwhelmed by what she has seen.
And I'm truly grateful that they're helping out so they can build a house for me and my children so we can be safe.
9 people were inside this home when that storm hit just before midnight last February. They say it was terrifying as this roof was completely blown off.
I was very scared because I have very small children. They're very young.
But this is not only benefiting Sataira. This is also part of the church's self-reliance program that helps these workers to gain valuable experience to get their certificate in carpentry.
That's big.
That's big. That's, having no skills, no jobs, to being able to be a carpenter anywhere in the Pacific.
We're all about helping people.
In another home across town, Ana Malia and her family and friends work on weaving mats. It's a long and difficult process. She too lost her home to Cyclone Gita.
I can see everything, it's gone, and also our roof.
But once again, a familiar scene. Ana, who is a Relief Society president in the church, went to work helping others to rebuild before worrying about her own place.
It's too hard to me to help myself first. I want to help others first before me.
In return, Ana had a team of volunteers show up at her place and rebuild it. A blessing from heaven, she says, for putting others first.
I think you need some help. I say, yeah, I need some help this time to fix my house. I'm thankful to have a kindness people like that.
A service project that's become more than just building homes. It's about changing lives.
It's not building the house, but building our faith and helping others. I think that's the most important thing to our member.
It's a very beautiful place.
Tucked away in the mountains of Samoa, about 20 miles from the heart of the capital, is a piece of paradise.
There's a waterfall, there's a bridge and a river that surrounds the village.
A secluded little village with a unique schoolhouse. They call this place Saniatu, a place where the beautiful and energetic voices of school children can often be heard. Saniatu Primary School is home to 115 students in the 1st through 8th grade, all trying to live up to the meaning behind their village's name, preparing to go forth.
It's where I learned how to speak English. It's where I learned how to husk a coconut.
Rubina Kayo Iono is the school's principal. She grew up here, left for a mission, went to BYU, and is now back enjoying her dream job.
To be called to go back to be the principal of a school that I attended, to me is actually an achievement of the blessing of President David O. McKay, that people who are educated there will leave Samiatu and return as leaders for the place. And that's the motto that we have there: enter to learn, go forth to serve.
This is what we're going to do.
Saniatu Primary School is one of several schools the church runs in the South Pacific Islands, all for the purpose of educating and preparing young lives.
I think the most beautiful village in Samoa.
Francis Linguo is an administrative assistant at the school.
It gives them a real purpose in life, to study hard and then go back in the community and serve the people there.
There's a reason why the locals here consider this to be sacred ground. It was Tuesday, May 31st, 1921, when then Apostle Elder David O. McKay came to Saniatu and blessed it. This marks a spot memorializing the event.
He blessed the village. I think that made this place so sacred.
The story takes us here to this small cemetery on the outskirts of the village. The early pioneers of Saniatu who stood up for their religion. It was back in 1904 when they were kicked out of their community, persecuted for being Latter-day Saints. So they came here and established a village and a school. But getting here is not easy. You can see the road to Saniatu is a very slow one. A lot of ruts, a lot of rocks. You're only going about 5-10 miles an hour or so. But everyone tells us it's well worth it. And when the school day is over, there's one bus that makes 2 trips carrying the children back into town. A road less traveled, but a village rich in beauty and history, with children preparing to go forth and serve.
Okay, there's a diagram on your screen.
About an hour drive from Saniatu and right next to the Apia Temple sits another church-run school.
You were given a section to read and to report to our class.
This one also established in the early 1900s. They call it the LDS Church College Pasena. There are 1,200 students here.
I believe that our students define who we are. So wherever they go, when they're in town or when they graduate, people will say, this student come from Pasena.
Priesthood leaders are those who...
But here, religion classes are not only a requirement, but an uplifting part of the day for students.
I think it's a great thing to incorporate in our classes, as it allows students to incorporate more spirituality into their school life, which I think is very important.
In Tonga, Elder Vea has an incredible landscaping job, upkeeping what used to be the grounds of the very first school of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Tonga.
Makeke, to many of the older generation, it's a place where they started their first education.
This is now a beautiful 20-acre campground filled with palm trees and greenery that sits right along the ocean. They call it Makeke, a place for families, youth, single adults, and fathers and sons to gather for camping. But to Elder and Sister Vea, who are just 1 month away from finishing their mission, this is holy ground.
What I love is the spirit of this area that this area brings, because when you're here, all you can hear are the waves crashing on the rocks. And you can hear the echo of the wind and the birds singing.
The church school that once sat here started in the 1920s.
One of the things that brings me joy about this place is that my grandfather went to school here.
For those who run the youth camps, this is still a place of education, just in a different way. A spiritual education, preparing the youth's hearts and minds to fight the battles of life.
That's what makes this place so special, that you get to in touch with nature and get to have a lot of spiritual promptings and spiritual findings.
That's what makes the labor so enjoyable.
Indeed, very happy to do the Lord's work.
Gali Sitone is a man of many talents. One of them, cutting hair.
I get to earn money every day.
His barbershop sits right out in front of his home, along a typical neighborhood street in Tonga. It's a perfect setup, but it's nothing compared to what sits right next to it. An amazing, well-manicured garden, full of all kinds of delicious vegetables. The Aloisis have 4 children, ranging in age from 6 to 14 years old. The garden allows for some quality family time. Like many families in Tonga, the Aloisis were not big on vegetables. In fact, they rarely ate them. But then several years ago, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints started a program, a new food initiative to get Tongans to bring in more vegetables to their diet.
We are in the demonstration area.
Davida Makehele is a manager here at the church's Liahona farm, a 135-acre site located just across from the Tongan temple that has much more than just a great garden. They also have plenty of cattle. In this farm alone, there are 94 heads of cattle, but this is just one of 4 farms that the church actually runs here in Tonga. The farm is here to help those in need, and inside the demonstration area is where they have been teaching families for years how to start a garden in a very small place.
This is called keyholes.
They call them keyhole gardens, a hole in the middle of the planting area where you throw all your excess, which then provides the nutrients needed to grow vegetables.
We're trying to get some new ideas of how to help people plant vegetables and make it as a family project.
Davida says the food initiative was started in an effort to cut down on the large number of diabetes cases in the country.
The nutrition is very neglected on our food.
The Aloisis say the garden has made a huge difference in their health as a family. So much so that Kefalina gets emotional talking about it.
It's very, very help to our family, make us healthy.
It has been very helpful.
Siala Akoola is a minister of health in Tonga. He says diabetes is a health crisis on the islands, and the food initiative is making a difference where more than 60% of the population are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
To us, it was a very helpful program because it was addressing something at the cultural level, you know, and the way people think about food, exercise, and their choices in life.
But still, there is no dialysis center, which for many means no treatment because they can't afford to leave the island.
It is very much needed for those who suffer from end-stage renal failure. I mean, they do not have any other hope.
That, however, will soon change. And it's connected with a tragic accident up Bells Canyon in Salt Lake City. This is where 22-year-old Salcie Brown lost his life in the raging waters in June 2017 when he slipped and fell near the waterfall. Brown's parents are from Tonga and have been told their son's name will be used for a new dialysis center.
It's the Salcie Brown Dialysis Center, housed within the Samnani Health Center.
Rod Imam is Salcie's best friend. His family is partnering to build the center.
I wanted to name the center after him. I felt it was the only way to really truly honor who he was for me.
Named after a young man who was known to always want to help. Now his name will live on the streets of Tonga, helping a people survive a deadly disease. His parents couldn't be more proud.
I just had tears running down because Salcie was into health and fitness.
It's amazing that a sad incident happened, but it also created something very special.
A team of volunteers in Samoa from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, beautifying an area housing a very special group of kids. Who are singing songs of hope. and inspiration, a complete contrast
I may never match the energy, but academy, shoots and scenery.
to what you might expect to hear when you learn why all these children are here.
It's a place where the sexual abuse children are sheltered, well looked after, and in preparation for their court cases.
Housing children from newborns to young adults, all victims of abuse. Lena Chang is the president. The girls call her Mama Lena.
I am a mother to these children. I walk with them right up to court. And I also make sure that they feel like somebody.
Here, they find safety and security with full living quarters and schooling, giving these girls a second chance at life. That's why they call this place Campus of Hope.
I thought I was the only person that went through this kind of problem.
Sarah Frenton
I've been in this camp for 7 months.
and Leilu Lino both live here. The girls' court cases have been cleared, which is why they're able to share their stories on camera.
Before I came here, I was really a bad girl. I tried to fill my life with things of this world. I was lonely, I was suffering, and no one was there for me.
Except a teacher who learned that Sarah had been raped and convinced her to go to the Campus of Hope. At first, Sarah didn't want to come.
When I came here, like heaps and heaps of children are facing the same situation like me.
Now, she can't imagine life without this place.
This place saved me, gave me a lot of hope for the future, and helped me to bring back all the hopes I have lost because of what happened to me.
I'm so happy to have a family in this place.
Leilu's pastor recommended she come here.
How has this place helped you and changed your life?
I think this campus is my real family that God gave me. And Mama Lina, I think she's my real mother in this world. And I think this is my real family.
But in order to keep this big family together, it takes some serious resources. That's why Mama Lina is grateful to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
We're very lucky to have the LDS Church behind us.
That not only provides ongoing service projects to help with upkeep, but resources to keep these girls here.
I always ask the church for help. We're short of diapers, we're short of formula. I just pick up the phone.
A phone call away in helping to care for some of God's most precious children.
I believe this is God's campus He created for these children. And all the children that came here, it's part of God's plan, and they're all here for reasons.
Thank you, Lord, for your blessings on me.
So this is the New Zealand Rugby League Museum.
In the heart of Auckland, New Zealand,
I didn't get here alone. I had people help me in my journey.
is an amazing museum capturing the history and triumphs of the New Zealand Rugby League.
And now I'm Kiwi 686.
So you were the 686th player to play for the league?
For the New Zealand Rugby League team.
Motu Tony is the league's general manager,
Holds up the pass for Tony. He goes.
a former top player for the team who played many years ago.
This is 2002. So I'm one of the short guys.
Comes to Motu Tony.
But despite all of his accomplishments, Motu looks to what happened to him 6 years ago as a major turning point in his life. The day he decided to join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I'm trying to get to the celestial kingdom, that's what I'm trying to win. So I've replaced, a medal trophy with trying to get to the celestial kingdom because I want to be with my family for all time and eternity. So no different.
Motu says the key to making it work, living your daily life with the same kind of values and commitment as your church life.
Success is when your church life and your professional life are like that, there is no difference.
I bless you that you'll have safety and success in your lives.
Motu, like thousands of others in New Zealand, was moved by President Nelson's visit to their country.
I feel quite privileged that so young in my sort of church life that I get an opportunity to see and hear, the prophet in person. And, I was saying that to the young people, also to my children, that how lucky and blessed they are to have the opportunity to see and hear the prophet.
I'm nearer to my Heavenly Father.
The Apia Samoa Temple has become a great strength to 79-year-old Oniao Walesi Sau, baptized when she was just 8 years old. Now a temple worker who has seen firsthand the missionary work that has rolled forth across her country.
Oh, God loves Samoa so much. He loves Samoa so much. 2 temples in such a small country.
On the beautiful islands of Samoa, there are about 200,000 people.
The year was 1863 when 2 Hawaiian missionaries came along the shorelines here in Samoa to preach the gospel. Now, 156 years later, nearly 42% of the population are Latter-day Saints.
On the islands of Tonga, a similar scene of missionary work. Here, according to church records, nearly 60% of the population are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
This is where it all started.
This is where it all started.
In Nuku'alofa, Tonga, a memorial now stands where the first missionaries arrived. The year was 1891.
The heart of the work in Tonga has been the sacrifices of all those that had gone on before.
Mele Taumapea is a church history expert in Tonga. At one time, there was as many as 19 missionaries on this island.
But missionary work here in Tonga was not easy. After 5 years with 19 missionaries, still less than 20 converts, the church made the decision to shut the mission down.
There was not much fruits to show for all the labor.
The reason? Local preachers spoke against the church.
The feeling was there was already enough. Tonga was already a Christian nation. They didn't need another church.
In 1911, the missionaries returned and the work began to blossom.
Elder John Groberg.
There is one missionary name everyone here knows very well, Elder John H. Groberg, or Kolipoki, the man portrayed in the movie The Other Side of Heaven.
Why did he play such a big role?
Because he became one with the people.
That was the key to the blossoming of missionary work in Tonga.
They grow in their love for the people, so much so that you could not tell the difference anymore.
Today, the church reports Tonga has the largest number of Latter-day Saints per capita of any nation in the world. A first-of-its-kind scene inside the New Zealand Missionary Training Center.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
A group of Muslims offering their afternoon prayers in a place where Christianity is taught to young men and young women who are preparing to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ.
We have prayed for your people and will continue to pray for your people.
It has to do with what happened here in Christchurch, New Zealand on March 15th. The horrific and deadly terrorist attacks on 2 mosques that left 51 people dead. The leaders of those mosques are in this room along with a victim still carrying the scars of that dreadful day.
I saw the person right in front of me and he straight away shot me on my right collarbone. I was in the mosque lying, struggling for my life, and even though I was shot, my boss wife tried to rescue me.
President Nelson was moved by what happened to them.
Dear friends, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints the world over were heartbroken when we heard of the deadly attacks on innocent worshipers.
As a result, President Nelson offered a donation on behalf of the church, $50,000 US to each mosque for repair and renovation.
I had a gunshot.
Alabi Latif Sarula is the imam of the Linwood Mosque.
Then I realized it's terror attack.
And Shakaf Khan is a leader at the Al Noor Mosque. Both could not believe they were under attack.
People were still praying. I said, everybody please get down.
there's someone shooting our brothers and sisters outside. He just shot our brother and sister dead. So everybody on the floor, get down on the floor.
I knew this is hate crime, that I was immediately identified, that this is a hate crime.
The road to healing has not been an easy one, but the love and outreach from the entire country and world has brought peace. That's why on this day, they are grateful to meet President Nelson.
The first thing that touches my heart is looking at him with his age. Came all the way from the United States. I just wish that may God bless him, enjoy his life.
When somebody comes from overseas and show his love to us, it's really heart touching, and we can feel the sacrifice.
The day before this visit, President Nelson met with New Zealand's Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, considered to be one of the top world leaders. He praised her for her leadership in the wake of the terrorist attacks and considered it a great privilege to meet her.
We're very impressed with her. She'll have a great future. Well, how nice to meet you, Mayor Goff.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
The next day in Auckland, New Zealand, President Nelson met with the mayor, who was amazed with his wit and energy.
He's got an incredibly demanding itinerary, and it's good to see that he is in such fine form.
Later that night, he spoke to a packed house at the Spark Arena, where he made a surprise announcement, the exact location of their new temple.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that the new temple will be built in Auckland on Redoubt Road.
This is the place right here where the new Auckland Temple will one day stand. As you can see, it's a beautiful hillside overlooking what they call Monaco Harbor. In Samoa, his first stop was to the head of state, where he received a very warm welcome.
Thank you for the privilege of meeting with you. We wish you well.
The honor is mine, President, and on behalf of people of Samoa and the government of Samoa, you are most welcome to our little country.
In Tonga, it was a royal visit to the palace.
Just hours before the devotional, President Nelson came here to the King of Tonga, where he had a very cordial and uplifting meeting.
We spoke of our love for Tonga and the Tongan people. He understands, and we understand the significance of the family in God's eternal plan.
Keeping up with President Nelson.
Oh, bless you, children. We're one big family. He hopes that we will choose to come home to him. It's nice to meet you.
During his ministry tour was no easy task. Just ask Elder Garrett W. Gong of the Quorum of the 12, who traveled with him.
The promise is that the Lord will sustain and support and bless, and that's certainly true in the case of President Russell M. Nelson.
And such was the case. In 9 days, President Nelson ministered to more than 94,000 people, traveling nearly 18,000 miles, covering a part of the Isles of the Sea rarely visited by a president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Please protect your families from the deception that you will see in the future.
Now a people filled with a new sense of energy, having seen and heard with their own eyes and ears from a prophet of the Lord.
I bless you to love the Lord Jesus Christ and to feast upon his words,
anchoring them even stronger in their faith.
You know that what he said is true, and you just want to walk away and be a better person and do better and be kinder, and it really motivates you to change.
This is a man of great capacity and great love. I think he feels the love of the Lord, and I think he feels the love of the people, and that energizes him.
Enough to continue his journey throughout the world, well beyond the South Pacific.